We have everything in place. I'm going to come back to where you are and not be clicking buttons. Find our class for today and say welcome, welcome to everybody. This is the Tapping Circle. I am Lorna. I am the founder of the Australian Tapping Institute. Our flagship program is to train practitioners to be practitioners of EFT and life coaching. You will have to bear with me while I have some water. My tickly week cough is still hanging around. Those of you been with me every week for the last umpteen weeks, you'll know that I have this little cough and it's still hanging around. So as I was saying, I'm the founder of the Australian Tapping Institute. Now, if you are new to EFT tapping, I am going to invite you to head across to our website. I will pop it back in the little box here, our website. You can head over there and you can pick up some free EFT classes. The Self-Love Project is very much tapping based. The Your Life by Design is for would-be coaches. So if you're wondering what a life coach does and what sort of questions they ask, perfect course for you. And of course, then there's our paid course, which is our practitioner of EFT and practitioner of life coach dual certification training, which you are very welcome to join us for a 12-month journey into finding you, exploring you, working through a whole lot of tools for yourself and having the skills and the tools to build a business for yourself when you get to the other end. So if that's for you, fantastic. For those who are ready for the Tapping Circle, let's work through this week. Or let me just move my keyboard. I don't need that, but I do need my mouse. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So we are going to look at using EFT when you don't feel good enough. Oh, can I click in there and can I make that scroll? Fantastic. All right. As we do with every single week, journals out. We are going to look at how we use EFT when you don't feel good enough. Part of it is classwork, because I want you to do some of the work in the class, and then you're going to have some tools to use when you leave the class. But all very much based on how do we use EFT when you just don't feel good enough. All right, so let's get grounded into the room. Even though part of me isn't grounded and present, I choose to feel grounded now. Even though part of me is somewhere else, I can't stop thinking about everything I have to do. I choose to feel present now. Even though part of me isn't grounded, part of me isn't present, I have so many things that I need to do. I'm going to choose to feel present now. Now I want you to head to the eyebrow spot. Now if you're new to tapping, don't overthink it. Just follow along with us. Just tap on the spot. And I want you to breathe into it and feel it. It's not a thinking process. It's a feeling process. That's how we get the benefit from tapping. I'm just not grounded. There is too much going on. There's just so much going on. I just can't stop. I can't stop thinking. It's really hard to focus on this. Always too much to do. I'm going to choose to let go. I'm going to choose to feel present. Feeling more and more present. More and more grounded. I choose to feel present now. I choose to feel safe now. Feeling so safe and so grounded. I choose to feel present now. Choose to feel present. Permission to be here. This time is mine. Permission to be here. This time is mine. Feeling present and grounded. Present and grounded. Present and grounded. Oops, I've lost my little mouse here. Present and grounded. Choosing to feel safe. Choosing to feel present. Choosing to feel safe. Choosing to feel present. Choosing to feel grounded. Present and grounded. Permission to be here. Feeling safe. Feeling present. Feeling grounded. Grounded. So time to stop tapping. Take a lovely big deep breath. If you're like me and you've got water, take a drink of water as well. Always important to stay hydrated when you're doing any sort of body work on yourself. So when do you not feel good enough? What is that really about for you? Let's get out some journals, pen and paper, so you can take some notes, write down some of the questions, do some of the work here in the class. So where does that actually come from? What triggers the thought in your head when you think you're not good enough? What actually triggers that? Do you even know what triggers that? I want everyone to get really clear and comfortable and involved in what their body's doing when these thoughts come up, because that's going to give you the indicators of what you need to work on. So when does it happen? Do you feel not good enough in certain circumstances? Do you feel not good enough with certain people? Is it when there's more people around, less people around? Is it certain environments? Is it certain places you go to? Where is it for you? Write it down in your journal. Where is it for you and the times that you don't feel good enough? Good morning, Joe Baker. Lovely to have you here with us. Where does it come from you? What are the thoughts that go through your head? So let's talk about, when is the first time that you thought you weren't good enough? Let's go back in your timeline. When was the first time? Do you remember what you were doing? Do you remember who you were with? Do you remember, do you kind of remember what the environment was like? Like, I remember mine really clearly. Mine was, I was a young woman, I was at my first job, and a guy that I thought I liked, basically said to me, you'd be really cute if you lost weight. Now, I was this tiny little dolly back then. Like, I'm lucky to be 5'2", tiny little dolly, little size, small waist and everything. Now, it didn't cross my mind to sass him like I would have or slap him like I would have today. I took that on board, and, my question to him today was like, dude, did you have a mirror at your house? But I took that to mean I wasn't good enough. I wasn't pretty enough. I certainly wasn't thin enough. I wasn't good enough. And, I can trace back a lot of my conversations in my own head came from listening to this stupid, young, overweight Greek guy that clearly didn't have a mirror at his house, but passed judgment on me, and I took that on. So where was it for you? Where was the first time you can go back and remember where you didn't feel good enough? Who was there? Where were you? What was the environment? What was going on? What was happening? Write it down for you. Write it down for you. Now, like with the classes, we're going to go back and test all of this. So I want you to think of yourself. So if you think of right now, I don't feel good enough. I want you to do a rating, 0 to 10. I don't feel good enough. I'm just going to click to see what the questions are here. Remember, if we've got questions, if you write a capital Q for the question for me, so I know it's a question, so I know it's not a comment, it's easier as the facilitator to go back and look. So when you think, I don't feel good enough, rating 0 to 10. 0 is, I don't have any intensity around that. I'm feeling, always on an everyday basis, not just in this minute, I feel good enough. That's a 0. A 10 would be, most of the time I feel really triggered. I don't feel good enough. I have a reaction in my body. 0 to 10, I want you to write it down for yourself. Happy if you want to type it in the box here, but definitely write it down for you. We're going to come back and we're going to test them and we're going to check them, because that's what we do with tapping, right? When you think, I don't feel good enough, what's the intensity? Your brain may have gone simply into a specific event. Your brain may be sitting here going, Ma, there's so many of them, and I feel like this all the time. All of them is perfect and all of them is good. So we're going to focus in on one of yours in a little while. We're just going to do some really global tapping and start to shift some of that round already, okay? So tap along with me and just keep your number in your mind. Don't worry if it drifts off, just keep tapping with me. Not feeling good enough. I don't feel good enough. Not feeling good enough. I don't feel good enough. Not feeling good enough. I don't feel good enough. I just don't feel good enough. All the times I didn't feel good enough. So many times. Too many times. Not feeling good enough. I'm just not good enough. So often I have thought, I'm just not good enough. Not feeling good enough. I don't feel good enough. Not feeling good enough. I don't feel good enough. I just don't feel good enough. I just don't feel that I'm enough. I just don't feel good enough. All the thoughts in my head, they all feel random, but they're specific to what he said to me, what she said to me, what he did to me, what she did to me. Not feeling good enough. I just don't feel good enough. Not feeling good enough. I don't feel good enough. Not feeling good enough. I don't feel good enough. I just don't feel good enough. Feeling not good enough. Not feeling like I'm enough. Feeling inadequate. Feeling less than. Feeling not good enough. This feeling. These thoughts. Now let's check in on that number you had before. For those who've just joined us partway through, welcome. Just tap with us when you join. Let's check in on that rating. When you think about that incident you had in your head to start with, when you think of that incident, the event, or that feeling of not being good enough, what has your number come down to? 0 to 10 rating. Remember, 0 is no intensity. A 10's very, very high intensity, maybe over a 10. You may find as you've done that tapping around, your brain has come in and started to single in one specific event or one specific period of time, one specific environment that you find yourself in. It may have peaked, quite normal if it has peaked. What will often happen when we're doing tapping, when another thought comes in the head, the brain peaks at that thought. Doing the tapping seems to be able to bring that to the surface. So 0 to 10, has your rating come down? I'm happy if people want to pop in their number into the box here. Good morning, beautiful Elaine. Lovely to have you here with me this morning. I'll text you a little bit later. So make sure what your numbers come down to, 0 to 10. How far has it come down? If other words came up, write down what the other word is. Jo's saying that her number spiked. So Jo, try to pinpoint what the other emotion came in, the other thought that came in while you were tapping on that, because this is your brain starting to get that little bit more specific. Anyone else who's peaked, know that you, as we go through, keep that thought in your head, because that's the one your brain's gone, this is the one we're going to work on. All right, so we're just going to continue on with the tapping. Lots and lots of tapping in these classes. My thoughts have not been good enough. Why do I listen to them? I put them on repeat. All of these thoughts, all of these memories, these comments, I hang on to them. The things that he said, the things that she said, that look that he gave me, that time she turned away, that time he rejected me, that time she put me down, that time that they ridiculed me, those things they said, that feeling, not being good enough, the time he moved away from me, that time she excluded me, that time they didn't want to talk to me, that time I wasn't part of the crowd, not feeling good enough, I don't feel good enough, not feeling good enough, I don't feel good enough, not feeling good enough, I don't feel good enough, I just don't feel good enough. All my thoughts of not being enough, why do I listen to them? On repeat. These thoughts, all of these memories, those comments, I hang on to them all. These thoughts that come to me, these things that happen to me, the things that cause me to think that I'm just not good enough, the things that go through my head, the memories, the retelling of a story, not feeling good enough, I don't feel good enough, not feeling good enough, I don't feel good enough, I don't feel like I'm enough, I just don't feel I'm enough, I don't feel I'm good enough. So let's check in again before we move on. 0 to 10, what has your number come down to? Again, if it's spiked, what is the number on the spiked emotion? I know that Joe had said that hers had spiked. So, Joe, you'd be looking at what has spiked on that new thought that I had, that new emotion that I had, and start taking a number. We call it SUDS in tapping, subjective units of distress, 0 to 10, a rating. It doesn't matter what the language is, but 0 to 10, what has your rating come down to? If it's spiked, what was the spike all about? What was the new thought that came into your head? We want you to work on what that is. Now, I've been a coaching practitioner of EFT and life coaching for probably getting close to a decade by now. I didn't realise it was quite so long. Now, this feeling of not being good enough that people have, it's a couple of things. It can be part of our story. We roll it out to people and, oh, I can't do that. No, that's not really me. And, oh, he picks on me and she treats me badly. It can be part of our identity. I'm just so used to playing it small. I'm so used to hiding from the world. And part of it can be our belief system as well. Now, your belief system really isn't anything more than a thought that goes through your head, and you repeat it, and you repeat it, and you repeat it, and you repeat it. From, my fabulous little Greek mate back in my first job, I think I wasn't even 16 maybe, my pattern from that was I was an ugly duckling. My brother's friends didn't think I was attractive. My brother's friends didn't hit on me. That's where that thought came from. If we ever went, parking with the boys who got stuck with me certainly didn't want to have anything to do with me. What I didn't know was my older brother had warned everybody off me. But that wasn't the story that I created. I took the evidence from he didn't think I was attractive, he didn't hit on me, he didn't try anything on with me, and all this stuff that in hindsight kept me safe. But I made that to believe I was an ugly duckling, I was unattractive, I was worthless, and there was nothing I could do about it. It was just the way I was born. So that was part of my belief system. Now, I didn't start to unravel that till I turned 50 and had a conversation with my brother that he thought was hilarious, where he told me that he warned half the boys in town off me, all of his mates weren't allowed near me. He told me all this stuff. Helpful 35 years ago. But at the age of 50, I then got to go, well, you know what? Maybe it's time to change that belief system. Maybe it is time to upgrade it. You can do the same. Your beliefs are nothing more than a thought that you think over and over and over. Now, then the brain goes and collects the evidence to match our belief. So know that your belief systems, your story, your identity, and your belief systems can be changed. And we're going to do more tapping now to help you to unravel more of that. All right, so keep up with me. Just, you can't get it wrong. If you miss a point, don't worry. Yeah, I know I go through this fast. Just tap along with me and don't overthink it. Just feel it. My thoughts on repeat of feeling not good enough. All my thoughts repeated on a regular basis of not feeling good enough, of not feeling like I am enough, of not being good enough. Awesome work, Joe, finding that other emotion. Other people, if you've got other things popping up, please, again, identify what they are. Tap on that. Keep that in your head. Great work, Joe. My thoughts, they are repeated. I keep this alive. Not feeling good enough. Not feeling good enough. Not enough. Never enough. The things he said, the things she said, that look he gave me, that time she turned away, that time he rejected me, that time she put me down, That time they ridiculed me. The way that she looked at me. That thing that he said. They didn't include me. I was turned away. I wasn't allowed in. I was kept out. I was excluded. I got it wrong. They said it wasn't right. They said I wasn't pretty enough, or tall enough, or thin enough, or something enough. Wasn't smart enough, wasn't capable enough. Everything that they said, where I got it wrong, where they said I didn't do it right, that I didn't try hard enough, that I didn't do that right, that I wasn't like my brother, or why can't I be more like my sister? That thing they said, the comparisons, always comparing. So I keep comparing, and I keep thinking that I'm just not good enough. I got it wrong. They said it wasn't right. His mum did it better than me. Her dad could always do it. That guy we had here before you could do it. The person who was employed before you could do it. Why can't you? Or why can't you be like the last guy? All the people before you found it easy. Always comparisons. These comparisons. So I keep comparing, and I keep thinking that I'm just not good enough. Not feeling good enough. I don't feel good enough. Not feeling good enough. I don't feel good enough. Not feeling good enough. Not feeling good enough. I just don't feel good enough. I repeat their words. I let their looks be remembered. Their comments are still heard over and over and over. In my mind, I hear them. I repeat their words. I let their looks be remembered. Their comments are still heard over and over. In my head, I still hear them. All the thoughts in my head, random thoughts, specific thoughts, what he said, what she said, what he did, what she did. Not feeling good enough. I just don't feel good enough. I don't feel good enough. I don't feel good enough. I just don't feel that I'm enough. I just don't feel that I'm enough. I just don't feel that I'm enough. Stop tapping. Hopefully you're like me and you feel it running through your veins. And I explain the movement of tapping and the energy like I feel my blood moving in my veins. It's the only way I've been able to describe it. The blood feels like it's shifting and moving in my veins. So let's check in again. What is your rating this time? 0 to 10. If you think, I don't feel good enough, whether it's in this very moment, whether you have a specific event in mind, if you're like our fabulous Jo and she's identified the other emotion, fantastic. What is your rating down to? Now, what we do ask you to do is not bounce between a whole lot of events. Come in and get us a specific event. So if you haven't got something specific you're going to run with, I don't feel good enough as a general thing. But if you've got a specific event, you're going to hold on to that. In that space, where don't you feel good enough? The more specific you get, the more effective tapping can get. Now, this is a really global class, so I get to do, I've got to cover over not only the people who are on the class, it's recorded, it goes into my school, it ends up on YouTube. It needs to be reasonably generic. So I want you to get really specific on your topic and your issue and the emotion that's come up for you so that I can take you deep. So I want you, as I said, we can't cover it all here, so you're going to go into your specific event really, really deep for the rest of the class, right? So most of you know the analogy we use in tapping, if you've been hanging out with me long enough, is a tabletop. Tabletops and table legs. So just maybe your little coffee table, it's got legs. The tabletop is the not feeling good enough, all right? That's a belief. It sits on top of everything else. What tapping does is we want to play in the table legs. So the specifics are the table legs. Why don't you think you're good enough? What holds that up? What events happened? What was said to you? What thoughts? And how did your brain tag them as, I'm not good enough? Because none of us came on the planet as not good enough. It all came from somewhere. So we're going to use our table legs to start working on where that is for you. Now, I want you to go back to the earliest incident in your life where you can remember not feeling good enough, where you questioned yourself, where you questioned who you were, where you questioned where you fit in. Is it a particular event that was traumatic? And I don't want you to sink into the event. Anyone who's got something specifically traumatic, keep yourself up. Imagine floating above it. Don't take yourself into that event in this class, because I don't have the means to get you back out of it, all right? So I want you to stay up above it if it's particularly traumatic. If you're all good to head into it and it's not a huge trauma, please allow yourself to feel into it. It's only for people who have got particularly traumatic things going on. So who was there? Where were you? What was happening? Get your journal out. All those things. Where was it? What was happening? Where were you? Who else was with you? All those sort of modalities of getting a bit of a picture as to what it was and where it was, because I want you to feel, again, that 0 to 10. Now, in that moment, you will have interpreted that event. Every event that happens to everybody, we tag it. You've heard me talk about the filing box where we all tag memories in. It's the meaning that you give that event that gives the emotional response. If we didn't have meaning to it and didn't matter, it wouldn't cause that emotional response. Now, in our brain is what's known as a reticular activation system. We were going to call it the RAS for short, reticular activation system. Now, that is the thing that is, you decide you want an orange car. Going to get myself an orange car. Suddenly, you see all these orange cars, all right? That's reticular activation system. So it also works in a little bit of a negative. So I've decided I'm not good enough. I've decided I'm not pretty enough. I've decided I'm not whatever enough. My brain is going to go and look for all of the evidence that supports that, because that's my focus. It's going to start looking for all the things the boys said, the things the boys didn't say, when they turned away from me or something, a comment was said, what I think somebody gave me a look. Your reticular activation system, that's the thing you focus on, that's what we focus with, goes and finds them. Part of this class is we're going to change your focus from looking for the evidence I'm not good enough to looking for some evidence that you are good enough, because the evidence will be there, but because our belief system and our identity has it here that we're not good enough, anything that says yes we are, we don't let in. And, I know you all do it, so I've been doing this long enough to know that's what the human brain does. So I want you guys to connect in that we are now going to look at what does serve and support you, what thoughts and beliefs do, all right? So everything that doesn't support your story, everything that doesn't support I'm not good enough, mine was, I wasn't pretty enough, all blah, blah, blah. All of that is, anything that was contrary to that, I discounted, I discarded, I ignored. You do the same. Anything that doesn't support I'm not good enough, you're not going to listen to it. Compliments, hey, you did that, was a really good job, you go, whatever. You'll always push it away. We're going to stop that happening, okay? This class, this is the end. By 9:30 today, my time, whatever time, half an hour is for you from now, no more. We're going to shift it for you, okay? So let's work on rewinding that pattern. Let's work on rewiring what's holding that thought and those beliefs in place. And I want you to focus on the event, the earliest event that you can remember, not feeling good enough. If you haven't got an event, don't worry about it. We're just going to continue. Your brain will just take you to where you need to take. You might be surprised what pops up, all right? So we're going to go a little bit deeper now. Stick with your event. Tap along with me, okay? Morning, Kaz. Great to have you with us. Great to have everybody with us, actually. It's always great when I see names I know pop up. Oh, wow, Kristen's down to 1. Awesome work, Kristen. Keep going. That's fantastic. That is fantastic. I'm sure you told me you started like a 7 or something. That is fabulous. That's what we want to happen, everyone. We want to make this interactive. We want it to work. We want you to do the work. That thing that happened, Oh, I miss a point, Kate. That thing that happened, that event, the meaning that I gave it, that thing that happened, that event, it seems so small, but it feels so big. It meant so much. It meant so little. That event, that thing that happened, that thing they did, that thing they said, so unfair. That one event, I think it changed my life. It certainly gave direction. That it pushed me. I gave it meaning. I gave life to it. I breathed life into it by believing it meant I wasn't good enough. My insecurities, all of my insecurities, all wrapped around that event. Not good enough. Believing I'm just not good enough. Where did I get that idea from? What triggered it? What was my trigger? Not feeling good enough. What was it? This feeling of not being good enough. That I'm just not good enough. Where did it come from? Sometimes I think I know, and I realise I don't know. Where did it come from? This feeling of not enough. I've been collecting evidence for a long time, all to support this belief. I am not good enough. I am not enough. Where did it come from? Where is it from? This feeling that I have, what is my trigger? What brings it up for me? Where do these thoughts come from? They catch me by surprise. Always by surprise. And at the worst times, my confidence plummets. And again, I feel not good enough. I feel I'm never enough. That thing that happened, never good enough. That event that happened, that thing that happened, feeling never enough, feeling not good enough. That thing that happened, never good enough. That event that happened, not good enough. That thing that happened, feeling never enough, just not good enough. Now, you continue to focus in on that single event. If an event's come up, fantastic. If something else has come up, try to stick to what we started off with, the original. Was it the one person? Was it a recurring thought? Did it come from an environment, particular people, particular place? Continue to focus on it. Excuse me. That thing that happened, never good enough. That event that happened, just not good enough. That thing that happened, feeling like I'm never enough. I'm not good enough. That thing that happened, never good enough. That thing that happened, not good enough. That thing that happened, feeling never enough, feeling not good enough. I'm laughing because Joe's just popped in there. She's found her onion. Yeah, baby, you've found your onion all right. You will be stripping back the layers. So let's go back in and let's check that question from right at the beginning of the call. Think of that. If I don't feel good enough, 0 to 10. For those of you who are still on the same topic or still kind of generic, when you just think of I don't feel good enough, 0 to 10, what's your rating? If you're somebody who's had another emotion come up, like our Jo with her onion, go with the event. Kaz asked me, why don't I do under the arm? Okay, for Kaz and whoever else is kind of new, my practice is based in Sydney, so my one-on-one practice is based in Sydney. My very first stuff I started to do seemed to have lots of big busted women in Australia with sweaty summer armpits. So I dumped out using under the arm because I just found that people found that the most awkward to do. It made them think. It made them go, oh, well, I can't reach. So that's why I dump it out. But you are more than welcome, Kaz, to tap under the arm when you want to. You can't get this wrong anyway. So just as a thing when I'm doing classes, I just don't use under the arm. So there is my reasoning. Yep, I know, Kaz. Big busted women in Australia with sweaty summer armpits. It was never a favourite thing for any of us to do. So there's your logic and your reasoning. Alrighty, 0 to 10 again, while Kaz is having a good laugh at my expense. Where has yours come down to? Now, what would happen for you? Let's take another step in. What would happen? Kaz can stop laughing now. What would happen if you didn't have the feelings of not being good enough? If you were able to dump that belief, get rid of that belief, imagine what you would be different in your life. Hey, it's all good, Kaz. I'm laughing with you. What would be different if you suddenly went, you know what, as of today, I'm not going to repeat that belief. I'm not going to repeat that in my head. What would be different? If you could stop repeating the pattern and stop bringing up the feelings, what would be different in your life? Now, as you know, by the time this is, what we're 40 minutes in, I was asked the tricky questions. What does feeling not good enough and having that as your dialogue, what does it allow you to avoid? Now, I know the question's unusual. Most of my stuff is very much based in life coaching stuff, is what you guys get here in this call, not just tapping. We call it secondary game. Now, we talked about this on the last call. We're here together as well. People hang on to old patterns of behaviour because the pain, even though they're in pain and it feels crappy and it's horrible, it's known. We know what that feels like. But if we were to change it and go into the stuff we do want, that's unknown. And the brain goes, it's easier and safer to stay here, even though it feels crappy, because I don't know what the new stuff looks like. And that's what happens with us. If I'm suddenly good enough and I don't run that dialogue anymore, what have I got to do? Does it mean I've got to get my career moving? Do I need to get my business moving? I've got no excuse not to see clients. I mean, that's one of the ones that comes up for our students when we do practitioner training. It is very much, well, if I get rid of this story, if I'm not good enough, I've got to go do stuff. I've got to start making my business work. I've got to start working with clients. I've got to put myself out there. I've got to stop hiding from the world. I've got to stop playing it small. All of these things psychologically help to hold the pattern and the belief system of I'm not good enough in place. Because when I let go of that and I let go of that safety net and I let go of that part of my identity, now what have I got to go and do? Unconscious patterning here. All the humans on the planet are running the same pattern. So don't feel bad about it at all. Remember, none of my questions are meant to trigger you, to make you feel bad, victimize, nothing. They're all about helping you find your truth. I just want you to have your truth. Now, for many, many, many people, finding their truth isn't something they do very often. They hide from themselves. They tell themselves stories. I want you to have your truth, because your truth is where your power base comes from, your personal power, not your unwielding power, your bad power, but your personal grounded power comes from knowing your own truth. And that's why I want you to have your truth, okay? I want you to have your truth, right? Because that's what these things are doing. The patterns are holding you in place so you get to do something that's may or may not seem resourceful to other people. It may seem like, why on earth would he or she do that? It's because it serves them and it serves a great purpose. So let's continue with the tapping. That thing that happened. I'm tired of its power. That thing that happened, I gave it meaning. I want to take away its power. I want to take it all away. The power it has over me. This feeling. When it comes up, I am going to acknowledge it and then let it go. I'm going to be kind about it. I'm going to be nice about it. I'm going to acknowledge it and I'm going to send it on its way. I will acknowledge these thoughts. I will not berate. I will not be mean. I will acknowledge, send it on its way, this feeling, those thoughts. It's time for them to go away as well. All of those thoughts, it's time for them to be gone. They can't control me. I don't want them to control me. I don't want it to define my days. As good or bad, those thoughts, my beliefs, these beliefs, or held up by that event. The event has no more power to change my beliefs. What would I need to do to change my beliefs? What should I do to change my beliefs? What do I need to let go of to change my belief? To change my thoughts, change my beliefs, change those thoughts, change those beliefs. What do I need to let go of? What is no longer working for me? What can I let go of? Let go of the thoughts, acknowledge them, send them away. No more thoughts. They don't define me. They have no meaning. They don't have power. My beliefs, I can change them. I can change my beliefs. I can manage my own thoughts. I can have better thoughts. Once that they served me, once they worked for me, my thoughts, my thoughts, my beliefs, my thoughts, positive and supportive, positive and uplifting for my greater good. My thoughts, all of these thoughts, I can change them to be positive and supportive, positive, uplifting for my greater good. My thoughts, supportive, helpful, uplifting. I can change them. I can change them. They are my thoughts after all. I can change them. I absolutely can change them. My thoughts, I'm going to work on these. I'm going to work on my thoughts. I'm going to do the work on this stuff. I'm going to move my beliefs to more positive ones, to more uplifted ones, thoughts that serve me, not the ones that don't. I am ready. I can. I will. Just watch me. I can. I will. Just watch me. I own me. I own what goes on in my head. I own my own thoughts. They're my thoughts. I can have whichever ones I want. Their stuff doesn't matter. What they did doesn't count. Who are they anyway? They don't matter. They don't count. My thoughts, my beliefs, positive, supportive, uplifting for me to change my world to what I want, exactly how I want. Having your beliefs not good enough can really be debilitating for your life. It stops you. I know it stops you from shining, and for many of you, you're not ready to shine. You don't want to shine. But just by taking baby steps to taking back the control of your personal power away from events. I find when I work with people, I said I've been doing this for over a decade, the number of people, and look, I was one of them with my stupid Greek friend when I was 15, 16. Those people don't even have a place in your world anymore. When you think back about it, you didn't like them, you don't respect them, you don't even value anything that comes out of their mouth. Yet they seem to be the comments that we take on and that we hold are from people who we don't even respect, like, care about, or even think anything good of, or even if they don't even come into your head anymore. And it doesn't make sense, does it, that we allow this to happen? So from today, you're going to change that. You can go back and do this class again. You will have written enough notes, any notes on any emotions that come up, any words that come up. You could do 5 minutes a day. 5 minutes tapping in the morning, 5 minutes tapping in the afternoon, and just say that one word. Now, if you can't remember where all the points are, just here. Remember, this is my really go-to place. You can just tap here, and you can just repeat your word over and over and over. Set a timer for 5 minutes on the phone if it makes it easier for you, and just tap. Just tap. Just say the word and tap. Don't think about anything else. Just tap and get rid of that part of the belief, that part of the person. But if you were to do this 5 minutes a day, imagine the changes. Now, I know that there's going to be a whole bunch of over the stuff, or, you know, then you've got your secondary game, which is a bigger conversation than this. But if you start doing the work now and start peeling away, as Jo said, some of her onion layers, this is where the gold is. This is where your personal power is, and this is where you can start to really create life on your terms, is when you start to get rid of this stuff. So I said, this is my go-to point with tapping. You can pick any of the points that's your favorite, or you can do all of the points. It doesn't matter. Don't overthink this. The point is, go and do your tapping every single day. Now, has anyone got questions or things they want to share? We are going to go and do some positive tapping. We are going to wind up the call. Reminder, if you want to do more tapping, my free courses are available. I did put in, and I'll do it again, put in our website. If you were someone who wanted to go and get the free classes, there is the Self-Love Project, which is tapping based. It's like a real introduction to tapping, real introduction to how tapping can help you build more self-love. It turns down the inner critic and turns up the inner coach. It's what you want. The other one is the Your Life by Design. It was written for our beginner coaches, or people who were thinking they may want to be life coach practitioners. It was written for them to give them a bit of an idea of what sort of things do you do as a coach, what sort of conversations. I'm going to gift it to the world, which I have, so you can just go and do it for yourself. Just do it as your own little coaching program to start to unravel some of this stuff in your head. And of course, there is the practitioner training as well, 12 months certified, dual certification, life coach and practitioner of EFT. If any of them are singing to you, there's the website in the box, so you can head over there. Connect with us on the Australian Tapping Institute's page. Now, I will tell you, our 3 months here at Spiritual Events Directory has finished. This is our last class that I'm going to be running in this space. If you want more tapping, please come across to the Australian Tapping Institute and meet me there. That's where kind of all our most major conversations happen, is on that page. These recordings, they're all sitting here in this page. They're sitting on my blog. So if you went to our website, you could find them on the blog, and they're sitting in YouTube as well for you to get shift, movement, work, and be able to do the great stuff. Like I tell you, it's been an absolute pleasure serving all of you for the last 3 months. It's been fantastic. I've really, really loved it. I've had fabulous feedback from our community. The reason we're not continuing is I have other commitments on a Monday, because this is 9:30 Monday morning for us. So the 3 months has been fantastic to get people experience and open and knowing what tapping is all about. So let's just finish up. Well, we don't even need to go to that spot. Let's just finish up with some positive tapping, and we'll wind up the call. Any questions, please type a Q in the question box. I've loved seeing everyone's numbers come down. That's what the class is all about, actual interactive work to get your numbers down. I am at choice. I am always at choice. I am self-aware. I am ready to have fun again. Playing it small is not for me, because I'm at choice in every moment. I am always at choice. I can choose to shine. I can choose to not shine as brightly as others, but that's okay. That is okay. I can do this. It's my time. It's my stuff. It's safe for me to change. It's safe to look at the past. It's safe to look at everything that happened. because I feel safe now. I feel safe and grounded. Feeling safe and grounded now. I'm feeling safe in my body. I'm choosing to feel present now. Choosing to feel present and grounded. Feeling more and more present. More and more grounded. I choose to feel grounded now. I choose to feel safe and grounded. I feel so safe and so grounded. Beautiful, everyone. Time to stop tapping. Remember to feel. Tapping is a feeling experience. What's this, Kristen? You're doing EFT certification. Fantastic. Bring more EFT to the world. Let's heal more people with this fabulous, fabulous tool that we all have. It's just absolutely amazing. So, yes, please continue to share this with everybody. For me, it's been a pleasure being here with you. As I said, if you have questions, you'll find me on the Australian Tapping Institute Facebook page. I'm always there. You can find me through my website. Come to certification training and get EFT certified with us if it calls to you. 100% online. It's a global course. Because 100% online, we can coach and teach you anywhere in the world that you are. Beautiful to have been here with you. It's always sad to say goodbye every week, but knowing this is my last week is probably even worse. Thank you so much. It has been a pleasure, and yeah, I do need to go because otherwise I'm just going to waffle on for hours. So thank you, everybody. This has been fantastic, and I will see you next time we meet. Bye for now.